From the genius behind House Party, Boomerang, Bebe's Kid, and the new upcoming Thurgood Marshall movie titled Marshall, I'm here to shine a spotlight on Reginald Hudlin.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You can have all the money in your hands, all the possessions anyone can ever have, but it's all worthless treasure. True worth is only measured.
Hey guys, I am Chae Jones, and that song playing behind me is called Stand Up For Something. It's going to be in the new Marshall movie, and guys, you don't feel it? You're feeling it now because it's powerful. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and I am here with Reginald Hudlin, the director of Marshall. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
You want to tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at RegHud, REGHUD. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram, the usual suspects.
Well, guys, what is so interesting about this interview is because Mr. Reginald Hudlin grew up where I grew up in a small town called East St. Louis, Illinois, and that is a small little blip in Illinois that most people don't know about because they assume it's in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, it's, there's St. Louis, Missouri, there's East St. Louis, Illinois,
Yeah.
right? We're separated by the Mississippi River, two different states. Missouri was a slave state, Illinois is a free state.
Yeah.
So everything goes off of that. And, East St. Louis, a lot of interesting people came out of there. I grew up 2 doors down from where Ike met Tina.
Yeah, you said it's 2 doors down from Ike met Tina, and then another 2 doors down from a gospel singer.
Yeah, Brother Joe May.
Which you said was like being 2 doors from heaven and hell.
Yes.
So I kind of want to elaborate on. I understand why you said that, but for people who don't,
right?
I'm gonna elaborate on it a little bit.
I mean, you got Ike, you got rock and roll. Some people take that as satanic or edgy or whatever. Then you have Brother Joe May, big gospel singer, so he's heavenly. Brother Joe May used to tour with Reverend C.L. Franklin, who was a big minister out of Detroit, and a lot of people know Reverend C.L. Franklin's daughter, Aretha.
Got you.
So, it came out of that school.
And that's a great school to be in.
Yes.
It really is. You went to, Katherine Dunham Center when that was still up and running, and it was an amazing center for the arts and just art, giving arts back to the community and giving arts back to the youth.
Yeah, it started in the 1960s. Obviously, you have all the riots breaking out, right? The Detroit riots, the Watts riots. So the people in East St. Louis were looking at our town like, well, clearly there's going to be a riot here. You got a bunch of angry young black folk frustrated by the lack of opportunities that society was giving them. And in fact, my own brother gave a speech in front of his class at school, and he was talking to the authorities in the school system and said, look, we really hope you guys can figure out a solution to address our needs, because if you don't, we have a solution. And then he lit a match.
Wow.
So that's how they were getting down in East St. Louis. So they said, well, maybe we should invest some money before the riot starts. So they brought in Katherine Dunham. Katherine Dunham, most folks don't know about, one of the most amazing people in American history. She was an anthropology major, right? So she's studying all these different cultures around the world, but she's also a dancer.
Yeah.
So, she went to Haiti and became initiated in the voodoo ceremony so she could authentically learn the dances of that culture. Then she ends up in Hollywood. She's starring in Hollywood movies in the 1940s. She's traveling around the world with her dance troupe. All kind of famous dancers are with her, like Eartha Kitt, who we were just mentioning earlier. All kinds of amazing people are studying with her. Marlon Brando.
You just as soon as you say it, you're just like, oh, that on the waterfront. That's all I got.
Right, exactly. So she's just traveling with all these amazing celebrities, literally royalty around the world, all this stuff. So she's in her 50s. She's got this academic training. She has a PhD. She's got this amazing performance background in stage, screen. And they say, look, we want you to come in and figure out how to calm these young black people down because they're getting ready to set it off. They're getting ready to just light the whole thing up. So she goes there and she says, well, let's drive me around. Let me see the town. So when she's first there, she's driving around the city and she sees this young brother getting arrested by the cops. So she says, oh, pull over, pull over. And no, we want to finish giving you the tour. No, I want to see what's going on with this cat getting arrested. So she stops and she starts asking the cops why they're arresting him. And they don't like her attitude, so she ends up getting arrested.
You can do that?
So it happens.
I guess, I mean, like back in the day, like I still have
No, that
today,
happens
actually.
today, yes. So,
like, let's be real.
Right. You're asking too many questions, and that was even before video. So anyway, so she gets arrested, which is the best thing to happen for her street cred. They're like, yo, Miss Dunham got arrested looking out for young brother man. And the cat who was getting arrested was in a street gang. And he was so moved by what she had done that he joined her dance troupe and became a professional dancer.
Wow.
So anyway, so she said, look, it's not just giving these kids a little Band-Aid of some little arts classes. We're going to have some college prep classes. And we're going to bring martial artists from Asia and Brazil. We're going to bring in master drummers from Senegal. We're going to bring in all these young professors and writers to come teach these kids who are getting bad grades, not because they're not smart, is because people have such terrible expectations of them, so those expectations are getting met. So, like this guy, one of the drummers from Senegal, he was there with his kids, and one of them was Akon.
You just, okay.
Well, yeah, these are things about your hometown you didn't know.
I never knew.
Right. So anyway, because of all that, right, so all these kids are suddenly like turning into rock stars. So Yale University, the Ivy League school, came and said, well, maybe we should recruit some black kids from there. So they ended up recruiting my brother, Warrington, to go there for summer school. And did so well in summer school, he said, I'm going to apply to see if I can get into Yale. And my dad was like, okay, I ain't got no Yale money, but you can apply. And he applied, he got in, he got a scholarship, and he went there, started making movies. And, me as the younger brother, I'm looking at him like, well, if he can do it, I know I can do it. I mean, come on.
Come on. Like, yeah. And you actually ended up going to Harvard instead, though.
Right. So I went to Harvard, where I started making films. And my senior year, you have to make a movie, that's a really important film. That's going to be your showcase. And, I'm watching Animal House. I'm watching Risky Business. I'm like, well, I want to do a movie like that. We don't necessarily always have to make movies where it's the Clint Finch, white man oppressing me. Can we just make a movie about our lives?
And a fun part about our lives, too.
Right. So I made House Party. First I made a 20-minute version,
yes,
which then people in Hollywood saw, and then they gave me the money to make the feature film version. And that was the start of my career.
And House Party, still to this day, like, who has ever seen House Party knows exactly what it is. And, like, they want House Parties back. Yes.
And that was I remember this young brother who goes to my barbershop, he came up to me one day and says, man, your movie ruined my life. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, I grew up watching House Party, and I thought, well, I'm going to go to parties like that. But they don't do parties like that anymore. No one just goes and has fun and laughs and, fun music and, the clothes. And so he's just frustrated.
I could see that in certain ways, because, like, House Party, like, it was something about 90s movies, no matter what 90s movie it is, but especially House Party, that just made you want to keep that. You don't want to lose it.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of it, a movie like House Party, that's made out of love. Because I loved growing up in East St. Louis. And, my brother gave me a diary, and I would just write down stuff that I thought was cool. And so when I made the movie, I just went through my diary, and I just said, oh, that moment, and that moment, and that moment, and just build a plot around it.
Yeah. Like, when you first did House Party, were Kid and Play attached already, or did you were involved in casting that way? Because you also filmed it with your brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was no attached. It was just me coming up with an idea, right?
Right.
And then I was like, well, who's going to do it? And originally, I thought we were going to do it independently outside of a studio. And we had done this music video for Uptown Records when they first started. Yeah. So I was like, well, there's this group, Groovy Chill, and they're really cool, and, we'll do it with them. Then the studio said, no, we need a bigger act. So I was watching Video Music Box, which was like the place where you saw black music videos back then, and had Kid and Play on. I'm like, wow, those guys look great. I mean, visually they're exciting. They got great dance moves. And I knew this girl who knew them, and I said, well, what are they like? And they said, oh, they're smart. They're, really professional. So I said, great. So I met them, and I told the studio, like, they're huge. They've got gold and platinum records. And I don't know if that was true, but, seemed good enough. And they went for it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, you did House Party 1, House Party 2.
No, I just did the first one.
Well, you did the first one, but you wrote the
No.
Oh, you didn't write the second one?
I got a check for the second one.
Okay, you got the check for the second and
the
third.
And the fifth. The checks just keep coming.
The checks keep coming. That's how we do it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a drag because, like, when I made the movie, I have these rules, right? Like, this is how this movie works. And when I see the sequels, I've only seen the second one. I've seen bits and pieces of the third one. It's like, y'all don't know the rules of why this thing works. So it's weird. The sequels tend to make enough money to justify making another one, but they never have made as much as the first one.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Really is.
Right.
Well, after that one,
yes.
First of all, we're going to celebrate your 25th anniversary this year of Boomerang.
Yes.
Which, congratulations. And
thank you.
Fun fact, guys, it came out on my birthday, 25 years ago. So that's really cool.
It's just really weird that a grown woman was born the day that movie came out.
Now she is. I am now grown. But yeah, that's what happened. So I feel very privileged, and I think it's awesome because that movie, just the theme of this movie, you have Eddie Murphy playing the player, but realizing that what you thought you wanted out of life isn't what you're intended or need in your life. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's what you want and what you need, right?
Yes.
And, his character was into perfection, like down to the toes. And he finally got perfection, at least in a kind of superficial exterior way.
But not on the emotional level.
Right. And then he found, an actual, real, emotionally grounded relationship as opposed to kind of game playing at the highest level. And realized, oh, actually what her toes look like don't matter. I'm actually happy. And I think those are important ideas.
I think those are important ideas. Today now, like, just for any guy or any woman who is searching for the Mr. and Mrs., right?
Yeah.
Sometimes what you thought you wanted isn't in the package you need.
Well, there's too many people with a checklist.
Yes, that's also true.
Right? They're like...
checklist.
Must make 6 figures, must have 6-pack abs, must make, like, da-da-da-da. And it's like... That'd be great. Good luck with that list. And maybe it'll work out for you. But sometimes the very act of making a list kind of jams you up. And not that you shouldn't be honest about what you want. I think too many people date for other people. Like, I need to be with this type of person to impress my friends, right? And you have to go, no, this is what makes me happy. You have to admit that, whatever that is. Admit what makes you happy and just go for happiness.
Now, what I heard was that the studio first didn't want Robin Givens or Halle Berry, which is kind of a crazy thought now because of who they are. But back then, that's...
Well, they didn't want Robin because they thought, oh, well, America hates her because, what she did with Mike Tyson. And I was like, Robin is an amazing actress. And every time she comes in and auditions, she just blows the room away. So... she's killing the game. Like, she's earned the role. Second of all, the fact that she is that formidable that she could take out the champ is kind of cool because everyone knows that Eddie is a formidable player in the real world as well. So it feels like a fair fight. It feels like King Kong versus Godzilla. So
Actually, do you with the symmetry? It's like, yep, I see it.
right, and Hallie was just an unknown person, and she came in and read. And again, beauty aside, she just gave an amazing audition. She was just fantastic. And she came in and she read with Eddie. And you read lines, and then I always have people do an improv together because we knew this is going to be that kind of movie. And at the end of the improv, Eddie was literally facing the corner of the room, like she had shut Eddie Murphy down. With her performance. Then she marched off. And as soon as she left the room, Eddie turned around and said, her. And I was like, yes, I agree, her. And the two of them together it was just the perfect combination. It was magical.
Like it is. Like you still watch it now and you're just like, damn.
Yeah. Now, we were very lucky. That whole cast. David Allen Greer, Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock,
Grace Jones, Arthur Kidd,
Johnny Witherspoon. They were just. Some of them I worked with on House Party, like Martin and
Tisha
and Witherspoon, and then folks I just wanted to work with, folks I knew. And at one point, the studio when we were casting, she was like, "You sure you want these people?" And I said, "Look, I'm telling you, in 10 years, people won't believe all these people were in the same movie," and they give you that. Just on some black thing right now. I'm like, no, for real.
On a for real thing.
Like, these are all stars. Everyone here is a star. And that turned out to be true. And in quicker than 10 years.
True. And I really do love that movie. Like, it's on Amazon, guys. It's on Hulu. Watch it. Hopefully you get to Netflix too, if you're just a Netflix person, because it needs to be there. But also right after that, you had the first African American animation. Yeah. And I have a clip before we talk about it because, guys, this was my life as a kid. This movie was so hilarious and so funny. You have to it just gives me life.
There we go.
Yeah.
I see you got a weight problem. Can't wait to eat.
It started in the mind of an offbeat comedian.
We Bebe kids. We don't die, we.
It grew into the animated world of Bebe's Kids.
I knew she was trouble. I should have known it when I met her. It was at a funeral.
Who's that girl in that black dress?
Woo! She's so fine, make me want to get a job. She told me, she said, if you want to get acquainted with me and my son,
you should take us somewhere like Fun World.
Fun World. So I goes to pick her up the next day. She got 3 more kids with her.
Paramount Pictures presents Bebe's Kids.
Those are double net pants, are they? Try to bring it back, huh?
Please familiarize and observe the rules while in Fun World. No running. No jumping. No yelling. That means you enjoy your stay.
Bebe's Kids.
We don't die, we multiply.
They're all energy. They're all attitude.
It ain't time to go. You trying to
I love
leave
that
us?
voice.
And for the next 12 hours, they're all Robins.
I thought the devil was through when they made Rosemary babies. But, oh no. Now we got Bebe Kids.
It's animation with an attitude.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Was it like seeing that again though?
It's crazy because, when my kids were born, I had these Bebe's Kids animation cells that I put up in their room. I'm like, am I encouraging them the wrong way? I don't know if this is a good idea or not. But they finally got, they watched the movie and they thought it was really funny. And I'm like, really? You think it's funny? They were like, yeah, Daddy, it's funny.
It is funny.
So, they've really been on me to do some more like kid-oriented stuff. So I would like to because, now I really know how to make kids laugh. So
like I think half is because where I grew up and like that's like that was a staple in East St. Louis. It's not even a joke, guys. It's a staple. Like you watch Bebe's Kids. Like you go to your friend's house and you watch it, and then after you watch it, you just like you see the symmetry between your life and Bebe's Kids. Even though you might not be that bad, you don't go that crazy, but you definitely know some kids like that.
No doubt. Yeah, no. I mean, look, you know, we originally were going to do Bebe's Kids as a live action movie with Robin Harris.
Okay.
And then he passed away before we could do it. And I just said, God, you know, we just really got to keep the spirit of Robin Harris alive. So, fortunately, Faison Love, who's now, again, a big star in his own right, could do the perfect imitation of Robin Harris.
That is seriously the perfect imitation.
Perfect. So we were like, okay, let's do it. And as an animated movie. And again, I just thought kids like yourself, when you were a young girl, should have animated movies. You should see yourself, you know, in kids' entertainment. So we did it because it needed to get done.
It did. And hopefully we'll see more.
Yeah, I would like to revisit that world for sure.
Now, you also produced the Black movie soundtrack at the Hollywood Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was hosted by Craig Robinson. Now, was it hard to, like, condense out of all the songs of movie soundtracks that we have into, like, this, like, maybe, like, 20 to 15, like, 15 to 20 songs?
Mm-hmm.
And how did that feel, like, once, you know, you had a cold crowd there?
Well, love going to the Hollywood Bowl. You know, that's my favorite place to listen to music. And I love movie night there. I love seeing they project the movie on the big screen. They have a live orchestra playing the score. I'm like, you know, the only thing that could make this better is if the movies were black. And they were playing some black music. So I finally realized, well, that's only going to happen if I do it. So I talked to the Academy, and they said, oh, we'll support that idea. And I talked to the Hollywood Bowl, and they support the idea. I, ran to my man Craig Robinson at a party, and, I was like, Craig, I got this idea. He goes, I'm in. I'm like, for real? Yeah. So we just had this crew, right? So we just rode in and we did it. So when I first made the list of songs, I just said, okay, I'm not going to research. I'm just going to do it off the top of the head. What are the must-play songs for the show? So I made a list, and I stopped at about 120 songs.
Just on the top of your head?
Top of the head, top of the dome. And I said, well, how many of these can we fit in? They were like 10 or 12. I'm like, no! So
that means you just got to do it again, though.
Right, and that's the thing. So I've done it 2 times so far, and we switch up the songs every time, and we do it every other year. So next year will be 2018, so we're going to do it again.
I'm excited because I haven't gone, so I want to experience that.
Oh, it was crazy. Well, I mean, the last time we did it, we had Gladys Knight. She did 3 songs from Claudine. Then we had Earth, Wind, and Fire doing That's the Way of the World, because that's a soundtrack from a movie.
Which one?
It was called That's the Way of the World. The movie wasn't a hit.
Oh, okay.
But the soundtrack, sick. And then we had Full Force doing music from House Party.
Yes.
We ended with Common doing Glory.
That song still make you cry.
Make you cry.
And it's supposed to, but like...
It's a break you down song. So, I mean... It's such a fun show to do. I mean, the first year we did it, I said, look, we got to have Public Enemy Fight the Power. Got to have it. And they were like, well, the Hollywood Bowl audience doesn't really like Public Enemy. I'm like, my audience will like Public Enemy.
The audience that this is meant for.
Right. So just roll with me on that one. So, we're setting in the last minute, setting the show. So I look out in the audience. This is like 5, 6 o'clock, right? And some people get there early. They're eating their roast chicken. They got a little glass of wine. They're rocking their little ascot. I'm like, ooh, y'all gonna get hit with Public Enemy in about an hour and a half. Man, Public Enemy came on that stage. They were all pumping their fists. Talking about, fight the power! I'm like, you are the power. Who you fight the power? But you know
gonna fight yourself? Okay.
They were all in, and I loved it. Everybody loved them. Everyone loved everything. So every year we do it, the show just gets bigger.
I'm excited now. I can't wait.
It's hot. It's truly one of the coolest things I do. I do a lot of cool things. I'm very fortunate. But everybody said, man, when you doing another one of them shows? Come on, man, you didn't tell me. I'm like, I did. I did. No, you didn't tell me personally. You didn't call me and make me get a ticket. I'm like, dude.
I got time.
I ain't got time. I'm trying to do the show. So, yes.
But some people might not know. If you don't, then you need to learn your original Hudlin trivia. But if you don't know, he also wrote Black Panther between 2005 2008 when you were BET president.
Yes.
And you're a comic book lover.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like for you being signed on to write the Black Panther and that story and having Storm and, Black Panther get married? Because, I have to ask.
Yes. Well, it was one of them crazy things where I was working with some friends of mine, and I read comic books my entire life. I know pretty much everything. So they were like, Reggie, have you ever met with Marvel or anything? And I was like, no. And they just called and set up a meeting. I was like, wow. So I met with them, not with any agenda, but just talking, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the meeting, they were like, so what you want to write? I was like, huh? So Black Panther. And they're like, okay, you could do a 6-issue miniseries. I was like, great. So I left with a job I didn't know I was going to get. And I was like, wow, I love Black Panther. And I'm just going to write the Black Panther story that anyone can read, right? You don't have to read comic books for 30 years. If you don't know anything about the character, you can just pick up my book and you learn everything you need to know. Okay. So I wrote a book called Who is the Black Panther? And it just set up, who Black Panther is, Wakanda, his family, scientifically advanced African nation, never been conquered, scientific geniuses, put foot to ass on a global scale, all that stuff. And it became hugely popular. So then Marvel was like, well, if you kept writing, what would happen? Well, he's a king, and that means he needs a queen, so he'd have to find someone to get married. So we talked about who he should marry, and they were like, what about Storm? I'm like, yes, Storm. That's who. He deserves her, she deserves him. That is the kind of wedding you go to and you go, yeah, this one gonna last. I'm glad I bought the expensive gift.
I bought the expensive one.
Right, they would not be returning this, right? They would not be fighting over this. And it was funny because it was just one of those profound split reactions, right? Black people were like, yes, I've been waiting my whole life to see the baddest black man, the baddest black woman in comic books come together.
Because there are few and far between.
Very few. White people were mad. Mad.
For what?
Because they love Storm.
Right.
And they did not want to have their fantasy broken by having to hook up with some black dude.
He's a king. He has money. What's your problem?
But they were like, well, Storm's a more popular character, and she should be with, Wolverine. And I'm like, no. The African king and the African queen should be together. That would be the natural fit.
And I totally agree.
So, there you go.
Speaking about Black Panther.
Yes.
Because I want to segue it.
Yes.
It's the fact that for your new movie, Marshall.
Yes.
You actually have the Black Panther himself.
Yes.
Playing Marshall.
Yes.
So, there's a couple questions I have because there's so much to talk about. First, why did somebody bring Marshall to you? Mm-hmm. And you just, after reading, you're just like, yes, this is it.
Well, producer friend of mine, Paula Wagner, she goes, Reggie, you have this script about Thurgood Marshall. I'm like, yes. I should read it. But yes, Thurgood Marshall. Conversation over. For me, if you say you had a black Mount Rushmore, right? Now, everybody would have different people on it.
True.
For me, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Thurgood Marshall. That's my lineup. That's my starting four. Yours may vary.
Oh, actually, I would just maybe add Rosa Parks.
You can't add. You can only have 4.
I can't have 5? Well, then date.
That's why the game is fun.
That's true.
I encourage listeners to play it at home after they finish the podcast.
Please play this game.
Play this game. You learn things about yourself and others.
That is very true. Because actually now I think I would switch on my 4 now.
Right, and here's the thing. Is Barack on the list?
Of course. Michelle's on the list.
Okay, now you got to take 2 away.
I know, but I have to have them both. I feel like you can't have one without the other.
It's tight, right?
It is.
The game is tight.
The game is fun.
So, anyway, the point is Thurgood Marshall is the most underrated member of that list, right?
Yes.
And for me, he's one of the most important for me for many reasons. One is that he wasn't a minister, unlike Malcolm and Martin. The other three are all outlaws for a good cause, for justice,
Yes.
right? And that's a big part of who we are as a people, but we also have to be lawmakers. We can't just fight the power, we have to be the power. And part of being the power is setting up a fair legal system, setting up a fair government. And that's what Thurgood Marshall dedicated his life to doing. So as we as a people move to our next level has to be not just being mad at the government, but since we've already had one black president, and I cannot accept that there won't be many others, it's like, well, we need to start envisioning what a black America is. And when I say a black America, the same way, we think of America as being white, right? Even though it's multi-ethnic. But the country is, we all know, in the next decade or so, will be a genuine plurality, right? With all these different ethnic groups, and
Yes.
there'll be no large white majority. So we have to say, okay, so we're going to change the nation is changing its makeup, no matter what. That's just scientific fact. I don't care what Trump does, how many people he tries to export. It is what it is. That's like sticking your finger in the dam. Like, no, the water coming. Right? So that said, then what does that look like, and how should it function? Right? And Thurgood Marshall was one of the first people who really dealt with those issues in a really profound way. So, and made them happen. He didn't protest. I mean, he changed laws as an attorney and then as a Supreme Court justice.
Being the director, did you have, a say in the casting process?
Oh yeah, everything.
So you're just like him.
Well,
Because you have Chad, you have Josh Gad, you have
Yeah.
Sterling Knight. I'm just
Yeah, no, it's a sick list.
the list is crazy.
It's a sick casting list. No, it started, Chad, I was a fan of Chad's, just from all his previous work, including we're in a great time, or there's a great new generation of actors coming on, right? So he's there, he's killing it. Boom, 42, boom, James Brown. You just go, okay, this cat's in beast mode, right? And when you get cast as Black Panther, we met, because I'm the writer of Black Panther, so we just start talking, right? Well, Black Panther's this, and what martial arts style you're thinking about. We started the conversation on martial arts, and then we just went into everything, right?
Yeah.
And we just kind of clicked. And actually, it's funny, we were talking the other day, and he talked about, no, Reg, it was at the Hollywood Bowl show. And when I saw what you did at the Hollywood Bowl show, I said, I need to work with this dude. Because anybody who would do this, so there were all these kind of points of connection in terms of mutual respect for each other's craft. And so then when this Thurgood Marshall thing came, I was like, wow, well, who can kill this and who can get it made? Because it's, romance without finance is a nuisance, right? So.
Oh, say that again. I loved it.
Romance.
Without finance is a nuisance. Well,
yeah.
I like how you did it, but
you got to put the little wah-wah pedal on to make it work. But, but the point is, so I knew Chadwick was at a level in terms of his star power that we could get the financing to get the film made. So I was like, well, look, this is great. And Chadwick is so smart. I really can't emphasize that enough. He's a Howard grad. Of course, he knew everything about Thurgood. So, we just had a very deep in conversation about it. We talked about everything. We talked about skin color. Okay, how much does that play into what we're doing? We talked about, him playing another historical role. Every concern we might have. And we just had really deep, honest conversation about it. And, we decided, because this movie isn't a biopic, isn't cradle to grave, it's just like one case early in his career in this, essentially all-white town in Connecticut. We're like, you know what? Skin color doesn't matter here. Whether he was light or dark-skinned, it wouldn't change what happens in this particular story. Okay. So we felt comfortable doing it. And I thought that was the right call because I knew performance-wise he would kill it, and for every other reason this was really right. And he was excited about doing the role because it's something he had never done before. So it was a new challenge for him. And Chadwick's a guy, I mean, one of the reasons why he's so great, he's looking for challenges. He's not looking for the easy get over. He's like, wow, this is going to be hard. Yeah, let's do it.
He's not into the typecasting, like being put in the box that sometimes we
all.
get in here in Hollywood.
Yes, no, he's a very serious artist, and I love that about him.
So we're gonna play a clip for you guys, the trailer, if you have not seen it, because it comes out October 13th. So check it out.
You gentlemen are making a big mistake.
This here is Mr. Thurgood Marshall. This man is an attorney. You'll treat him with the respect that he deserves.
My great-granddaddy, he was a slave. We're not slaves now, are we? We've got weapons we didn't have before. We've got the law.
Baby, you go into these towns who've never seen a Negro lawyer.
Hey, boy!
You need to be careful.
NAACP.
Very good. You're going to Connecticut.
Joseph Spell, Negro servant attacked socialite in her own bedroom.
This case will show the world if a colored man can get a fair trial in the United States.
There's only 13 million Negroes depending on you.
Don't any of you have any confidence in me?
I'd say you have enough confidence for us all.
Oh my God.
I only represent innocent people, people accused because of their race. That's my mission.
I never touched that woman.
I need a partner who the jury can relate to. Sam Friedman. Good to meet you, Sam. Hey, give me a hand with these, would you?
What have you got in here, cement?
Guns. Books, Mr. Friedman.
You just sweep through town, stirring up all kinds of ugliness. My life is on the line here.
Hey, Attorney Friedman, hold on a minute.
What do you want?
You're one of us now, Sam. A real fighter.
Step away, you can't take the heat on the battleground.
Neither of them have been telling us the truth.
He attacked me.
I'd advise him to accept the deal.
You lied in a sworn statement. Why would you do that?
Why'd I lie? Because the truth gets me killed.
You can't deny me now. Tunnel vision.
If you want freedom,
Have me down on a mission.
you're gonna have to fight for it.
Stop me now.
The only way to get through a bigot's door was to break it down.
I love that scene.
You can't stop me.
So much. I put my hands up because, yes, you better drink out the white only. Go ahead. I was like, that's a ballsy move, regardless.
Yeah.
Especially in the 60s.
Right, and that was the thing about Thurgood. I mean, Thurgood, young, because people used to seeing, older Thurgood Marshall, right, on the bench, and it's like, you see pictures of young Thurgood, crazy swag. I mean, and again, he's not a minister. He's smoking, he's drinking, he was that dude, he had jokes. And I just thought, I want people to see a different face for the civil rights movement, a different kind of guy. And what I really appreciate is when people see the movie, they go, I can relate to him. I could be him, which is the point. I'm not putting a perfect person up on a pedestal. I'm putting a real dude up there that you could be.
And that's what we need more in today's society. That's for sure.
Yeah, because if there's anything the last election proved is that anything can happen.
That is true.
So, I mean, people go, well, it's like, yeah, that applies to you too. Like, you can do anything.
So, for projects, that people pitch to you, what meets your eye? Like, what catches your eye? The thing that you look for in that next project you want to put your name next to?
Well, I mean, the first simple thing, literally, is like, is it good? Meaning, is it well written? Is it well crafted? Because so many people don't spend enough time on their craft. And you go, and you get these phone call, people say, I got an idea. I just need you to write it down. You got a pencil? Why don't you write your own idea down? And why don't you show your little idea to everyone you know? And once everyone you know and everyone they know thinks it's a good idea, then you try to set it up. So there's that basic level, right? And then past that, there's things where you go, okay, well, does this resonate with me? Does this speak to something that I want to say as an artist? If it meets those two criteria, then you just, after that, you just go for it.
So you have a project coming up that I found interesting because it's an untitled Reginald Hudlin story, a story about you. Am I correct?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the 9DB Lies, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Don't go by IMDb.
well, aren't you doing the Showtime at the Apollo?
Yes, I am doing.
So they lie, but like.
Yeah, it's very funny because what's crazy about IMDb is like, I'll go in and try to correct them. And they go, no, you're not a verifiable source. I'm like, it's me. It's my life. And they won't accept information from me. We literally went in and like we cleaned up most of Wikipedia. It's not 100% accurate, but at least it's more accurate than it was when it was completely inaccurate. But I have my own website. I built my own website just so
everybody knows.
Like, here's the actual truth about what I've made and not made. Because people give me credit for things I didn't work on, and then they don't give me credit for things I did work on. So, like, can there be one verifiable source of information about me? So I built HudlinEntertainment.com just for that. There's other stuff on there too. It's a fun place, but like just to keep the record straight.
Well, let's just say if there was a Reginald Hudlin story, who would you want to play you?
I can't. I can't like, huh? Why would there? That's for my son or daughter to make that movie. That's not for me.
I like that though. So Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah.
2018 is like a producer.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit? And obviously it's gonna be at the Apollo, but what's the meat in it?
Well, it's interesting because Showtime at the Apollo was the original talent contest show, right? And all these other shows, American Idol, The Voice, they're all America's Got Talent. They all are trying to be the Apollo, right? And some of those people who work on the show, when you work on those, they'll go, no, the Apollo did it like this. We got to do it like this. So, I mean, they're very clear about where the roots are. So the idea is, let's bring back the originator, and it was a great show when it was on back in the day, late night. But now, we have the resources to really ramp it way, way up. So we've got great singers, we got great comedians, we got great, magic acts, crazy dance acts, every kind of entertainer from all over the world. We got people literally from all over the world who come because they all know the Apollo's the Apollo. Like, if I can make it here...
You can make it anywhere.
Right. So folks come to the Apollo because they want the competition. There are people who pass on some of those other shows. They're like, no, we turned down those other shows. We got to do the Apollo because that's the real.
That is true.
Because the Apollo has the most ruthless audience in the world. And that's why the show's fun.
And the hook is fun too.
It's like, we don't got 3 judges. We got 1,500 judges. And they will brick you. They literally throw pennies at people.
Seriously? I've only, I think I just ever saw the hook.
The Sandman. Now, the Sandman would come up with his hook, and he would drag you off. But that's after you get humiliated by the audience booing the hell out of you. And yes, our sister's cat, he just wouldn't stop singing, right? All this, boo, get off the stage. They got this little move right here, right?
You guys to go to the left.
Right. And then he was like, oh, what just hit me in the forehead? Then he feel a little trickle of blood going down if somebody threw a nickel.
Wow.
So, come correct or don't come at all.
Those are the rules of the game.
That's the rules of the game. And let's be real. The booze is as fun as the super talents. It's like, I love seeing some unknown, shy, insecure person get up and they just rip the roof off. And you're like, yeah! And then you see somebody come out all cocky like, I got this. and then they just tear their jaws, and then they just get crushed. That's satisfying in its own special way.
For the people watching, of course.
Yeah, and then we'll have guest stars. You know, we have legends from the Apollo coming back and performing.
Nice.
You know, musicians, comedians, all kind of folks. So it's just, you know what it is? It's funny because we did a special last year, just kind of a test run of it. And I watched it with my family. I was like, you know, we're all having a good time here. Like, you know, and that's a rare thing. You can watch a show that everybody likes.
That is rare. Well, we love rare things, and we can't wait to see what more you have coming up next with the Marshall and the Apollo, guys. You have to check out Marshall in theaters nationwide, October 13th. You want to tell them where they can find you one last time?
Oh, actually, there's another thing I just did. I have a new comic book that came out this week.
You did?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's kind of a long title.
Okay.
It's called The Black Racer versus Shallow Norman. And there's this cat named Jack Kirby.
Right.
Who's kind of the genius of geniuses. What Miles Davis is the music, Jack Kirby is the comic books. Right? He's the greatest who ever did it. Best who ever did it. So this month is his 100th birthday. So they hired different creative teams to, you know, do a story based on some of his classic characters. So we were at DC Comics, me and my partner Dennis Cowan, meeting about something else, and they said, "Hey, do you want to do one of these Kirby books?" And Dennis was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You just volunteered. You didn't even ask me." So what's the story? And there's Kirby's created a million great characters, right? Mm-hmm. You know, there would not be comic books if you're not for Jack Kirby. So here's a character called the Black Racer, who's basically death personified, and he flies after you. And then he has another character called Mr. Miracle, who's the world's greatest escape artist. So basically...
You put the escape artist...
versus death.
Dang, that's good.
It's so dope! It's great because it came out, what's today? Thursday? It came out yesterday. And people are like, "Oh my God, Reggie, this is the best of the tribute books. Oh my God, this is a crazy story." People are just really hyped. It was fun to write. It's fun to see people react to it. It's fun to do another comic book.
I can't actually wait I want to read that. I want to know if the escape artist can escape death like that. Just that concept is just like dope. Like, I want to read it. So I'm excited now.
Yeah, it's bananas. It's bananas. So I was like, hey, wait a minute. Let's talk about everything. I mean, because I usually like to work in at least 3 mediums at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I got a movie, I got a TV show, I got a comic book. So I feel like, you know.
The year's been great.
I'm using my time well.
Well, we all appreciate the time you spent making it great for us.
Thank you. So, if you okay, I forgot, what did he say again? You can go to my website, hudlinentertainment.com. I put information, whatever I got a forum page. People ask me questions. I actually go there. I'll answer people's questions. Yeah, I'm shockingly available.
I would just have no idea. I would not know. But before we get out of here, what advice would you give to the young people now trying to make it in the entertainment industry? Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to them? Because this business, you're gonna hear a lot of no's first, definitely. But the no's are what make you keep going too. Yeah, well, first of all, my parents or grandparents, did not work in the entertainment industry, so there was no way from East St. Louis. There was no path to working in Hollywood. That seemed impossible. That was a Grand Canyon, right? And you just go, well, I'm going to learn all about it. So I read everything I could read. Even as a kid, I was just reading stuff. Then I studied in school. And then even after I graduated, I started reading Variety, like the trade magazines. I could not understand a word in there. I said, I'm just going to read this every week until it starts to make sense to me. And nowadays, there's so much information on your phone that there's no excuse. You can see classic movies. You can have tutorials in filmmaking. There is an incredible amount of information available to you for free. You're already paying for your phone bill. So you just need to maximize the fire hose of information available to you there. So there's really no excuse. And then, get out of your little circle and find people doing what you want to do in theater, in
you know, in anywhere. You can shoot a movie on your iPhone. So just do it. And on whatever level you can do it. You write a play, shoot a TV commercial, you know, act in a whatever. Just do it until you're good at it, and then keep doing it until you're better, and then keep doing it until you're great. But just exercise the muscle.
Exercise the muscle, guys. That is the lesson of the day. I am Chae Jones. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. And this has been an amazing spotlight on with Mr. Reginald Hudlin.
Thank you. Hey, October 13th, Marshall in theaters. Show up. Bring your mama. Bring your church group. Bring your classmates in school. Bring your motorcycle gang. Bring your gun club. Bring your side piece.
Oh, no, you didn't. No.
I mean, that was the thing about...
Well, don't bring your girl and your side piece at the same time. I will say that.
No, but that was the thing about Boomerang. Guys came up to me and said, Reg, that movie works every time. I brought my girl, my other girl, my side girl. They all loved it.
I mean, okay, cool.
Marshall will work the same way for you.
I believe that, too. Thanks, guys, tuning in. Appreciate you. That was awesome.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.